began a good work in you. God who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. Will be faithful to complete it. God who started the work will be faithful to complete it in you. If the struggles you're facing are slowly replacing your hope with despair, or the process is long and you're losing your song in the night, you can be sure that the Lord has a hand on you, safe and secure. God will never abandon you. You are a treasure, and God finds great pleasure in you. God who began a good work in you. God who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. Will be faithful to complete it. God who started the work will be faithful to complete it in you. If the life that you're living is simply not giving you peace in your heart, and the path that you're traveling is slowly unraveling apart, there is a light that is shining within you now, filling the night. It is guiding you home somehow. Trust and believe the truth. God will not leave you alone. God who began a good work in you. God who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. Will be faithful to complete it. Yes, I know that it's true. God who started the work will be faithful to complete it in you. To complete it in you. To complete it in you. Well, this is Michael Gangitano. We are celebrating a 15-year anniversary of the release of a CD that we made way back in 1997 that started with that very song, God Who Began a Good Work in You.
And I'm told that you can get a still valuable but highly reduced copy of that CD in the Twice Blessed bookstore. I didn't realize I was coming to Hawaii to be found that I had been marked down.
Oh, well, you are discounted, but you are still incredibly valuable.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I only had about 3,000 left.
I have the other 3,000. And there's one more.
There's one more. You have one. Good. The CD was called Coming Home. And it was, a lot of the music was based on a workshop that Michael and I did. We did it in 55 different churches. And I think that this is one of the reasons why I became the kind of minister I did, because this was before I actually had a church, my first church. We traveled around and we looked in all these churches as we performed, and we saw kind of what worked and what wasn't working. And we saw the way people were, and we kind of decided that when we would get our first church, that it would be something that had the best of everything. The workshop was called Coming Home, and it's based on the amazing parable in the New Testament that Jesus tells of the Prodigal Child. And it's about that experience that we all have of feeling that we've wandered away from God somehow. Though that's physically impossible, spiritually we do feel like that. This morning, as we present to you some of our favorite songs and tell some stories with you, I'm going to invite you, no matter where you think you are on that journey, to consider this morning coming home. I know where you live, but you've never been home. Everyone in your house has been living alone. Now something is wrong, and you know it's not fair. Still it's easier to hide than to show that you care. Will you come home? Will you come home? Will you come home to your heart? You've kept away from yourself from the start, but you can come home now. Come home to your heart. You work hard all day, how you strain to stand tall, trying to make someone love you, better yet, make them all. But the door has been closed, all your secrets concealed, and you're living your life so they're never revealed. Will you come home? Will you come home? Will you come home to your heart? You've kept away from yourself from the start, but you can come home now. Come home to your heart. Leave the baggage behind. You've done more than your part. Before you heal all your loved ones, you must heal your own heart. Don't look to others for directions or deeds. You're the very first love that your heart ever needs. So will you come home? Will you come home? Will you come home to your heart? You've kept away from yourself from the start, but you can come home now. Come home to your heart. Will you come home? Will you come home? Will you come home to your heart? You kept away from yourself from the start, but you can come home now. Home to your heart. This workshop was based a lot on the story of the prodigal child, which we've been talking about a lot the last month, different little bits and pieces. Every one of us is a part of that journey in some way, shape, or form. And there is a moment that's kind of the crux of the story when the young boy realizes what a mess he's made out of his life. And he says, I will arise and go to my father, and I will be asked to be treated like a servant. I think there's importance behind that thought. He knew somehow that no matter what he had done or how bad things were, that at home there was love. I think he realized too that all those things he was looking for out in the world, it was love. So the decision we all make when we turn around from this journey we're on is a decision to come home to love.
And you know, prodigal really only means wasteful. He wasted things and opportunities, but it didn't mean he was a bad person. Whether you are the prodigal who went away and had riotous living, or whether you're the prodigal who stayed home and complained and resented being the goody two-shoes, we all have a part in that journey.
Kind friends all gathered round, there's something I would say. What brings us together here has blessed us all today. Love has made a circle that holds us all inside, where strangers are as family and loneliness can't hide. You must give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your heart to the tears and the laughter, and just give yourself to love. Give yourself to love.
I've walked the mountains in the rain. I've learned to love the wind. I've been up before the sunrise to watch the day begin. I always knew I'd find you, but I never did know how. But like sunshine on a cloudy day, you stand before me now.
You must give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your heart to the tears and the laughter, and just give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Love is born in fire, it's planted like a seed. Love can't give you everything, but love gives you what you need.
Love comes when you're ready, and love comes when you're afraid. It'll be your greatest teacher, the best friend you have made. Give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your heart to the tears and the laughter, and just give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love.
Thank you.
Many of you are familiar with the life and works of Joseph Campbell. And he articulated the paradigm of the hero's journey, and that we are all on that in some form or another, and at whatever level of awareness we are still experiencing that in an attempt to reach that understanding that we are at home in God. One of the stops on that journey is something called atonement with the Father, which is beautifully illustrated by the story of the prodigal. And the prodigal really only means wasteful, someone who is wasteful. It doesn't mean bad sinner eating worms in the garden with a rusty spoon, like many of us in our churches of origin may have grown up to believe. Prodigal just means wasteful. So when we reunite with that father figure, and the father figure, due to our cultural and tribal, societal, very paternal values, the relationship with the Father is then something that we have a tendency to translate to our relationship with God, whether that is true or not. And of course, we know that God is not the Father, but the all-loving Creator. So the ability to atone with the Father then becomes imperative to reconcile, so that we can find that oneness.
In this workshop, in this workshop we did there's always that point where we come to our senses, and the young man rises up and says, I will arise and go to my father. And that's a beautiful turning point that we all make in our lives and our hearts. This is like, I'm done with this. I am making a change. There's a line that says there that he rose and he went. And then there's the next line that says, and while he was yet afar off, the father saw him and ran to him. There's always so much in these stories that I wonder about. And I wondered for a while, how is it that the father saw him coming from so far away and then ran to him? And as I thought about this, I realized I understood why. The father saw him and ran to him because every single day the father went down to the gate and he waited for him. Because that's what love does. When you love someone absolutely and unconditionally, no matter how far they roam or what they do, you wait. We acted that out a little bit and want to share that part with you. It was my favorite part of the story because, you know, there was one son who stayed home. We call that the GTS son, the goody two-shoes son. And I can imagine that in this scenario with the father waiting at the gate, as he must have done every day, things could have gone different ways. For many of us who are lost in our sense of right and wrong, it might have looked and felt like this.
What are you doing here again? Every day, same thing. What are you looking for? I know what you think is going to happen, but it's not. He left, he's gone, he's not coming back, okay? I've got workers that I can't control, that want to get paid for work that they're not doing. How do I deal with that? I don't have any support or backup from you. All I have is this longing that someday he's going to show up again. So what? You gave him everything, and then he took it and left. That's it. That is the end of the story. It's not going to go on. I feel completely abandoned here. Do you understand that? Just sit. And don't get up. Just sit here until you keel over. Because that's it. You're a foolish, stupid old man.
Sometimes when you love and no one else understands why and how you love, those are the kind of harsh words you hear. And sometimes when we're hurt, we say those kind of words. I want you to imagine what it might be like if this son that stayed home would have chosen in his own heart to be renewed in his love for the family, if he would have known how loved he was and had been able to choose love in every moment, it might have been very different.
Any sign of him yet? Well, you know what? He's doing what he has to do. And all he has to know is that he can turn around at any time. We'll be here. I just don't think he gets it. I really appreciate you just taking the high road on this and just waiting. Someday he'll understand that we're just waiting here with the lights on for him. Can I just sit here and wait with you, please?
See how different that is? We can make that kind of difference in every relationship we have if we choose to love. If we choose to forget whatever may be right or wrong or whatever may be appropriate and just say, you know what? Love rules. Love is always right. Love is always appropriate. It's not easy. I know it's hard sometimes. It's hard because we get caught up in the rightness and sometimes we just don't know any other way to be. My encouragement to you is, no matter what's going on, no matter how hard it is, choose love and press on. Press on.
When the valley is deep, when the mountain is steep, when the body is weary, when we stumble and fall, when the choices are hard, when you're battered and scarred, when you've spent your resources, when you've given your all, in God's great love we press on. We press on, dear Lord, with the prize clear before our eyes. We find the strength to press on. Press on. In God's great love, we press on. Dear Lord, with the prize clear before our eyes, we find the strength to press on. We find the strength to press on. To press on.
Oh, so many ways to choose in that journey. And it's all the journey that happens inside. You know that, right? It's not anything that happens on the outside. So I want to take a few moments and let's go inside and take all of this message, all of this music. In this time of meditation, I want you to know there is a presence and a power that is divine and holy and that is waiting at the gate of your heart right now, this moment. All we have to do is to just stand in our heart and mind and say, I am coming home now. Come home to love. Come home to absolute forgiveness. Come home in reconciliation. Come home in oneness. Come home now. to God. As we come in our hearts and minds to that sacred and holy silence.